William James, an American philosopher and psychologist, once said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind." I chose this quote today because I think that is just such a beautiful description of the power that we have as a human being. We have the ability to change. We have the ability to alter our lives. And when provided that knowledge and understanding of how to do it, great things can happen. I want to welcome you all to Wellbeing Psychology. I'm Shantanique, and this is a channel that educates on psychology, purposeful life, personal growth, self-development, brain functions, life balance, and so much more. Welcome, everyone. So excited to have you here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the anatomy of the brain. We're going to discuss the four lobes and their functions. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So within the brain, we have something called the cerebral cortex. It is a major brain function. So the cerebral cortex plays a key role in things like perception, attention, awareness, thought, memory, language, and even consciousness. Now, within the cerebral cortex, we have something called the neocortex. So it's a part of it. And that is actually divided into left and right hemispheres. So we have this side and we have that side. Now, it is known that the right part of the body is actually most commonly connected to the left hemisphere, and the left part of the body is known to be connected to the right hemisphere. That's a little interesting, right? But that's how it functions. So within the brain, the cortical regions are typically organized into four lobes, and that's what we're going to be talking about. The four lobes are called the parietal, occipital, temporal, and frontal. Let's go ahead and discuss them. So I have here, before we get into them, just a description and a picture, so that way you can have in your head what it looks like. As you can see, the brain here, which is an interesting looking thing. Can you believe that we have this inside of our head? Sometimes I'm like, really? It's pretty interesting if you ask me. But you can see here we have the frontal lobe. It's right there. And this is the side image, as you can tell. This would be the front side. This would be the back. And this is closer down. And we have the parietal lobe here, occipital lobe, and then the temporal lobe. All right, so the frontal lobe has two major functions. The back portion is involved primarily with motor functions, problem solving, impulse control, social and sexual behavior, language, memory, right? It has lots of responsibilities. The front portion is involved in things like controlling higher level processes like planning. So the frontal lobe has this very, very important function, right, or a process that it has to go through to assure that we are functioning properly as a human being. Now, the parietal lobe handles some perceptual functions, things like spatial processing, representation of the body, management of taste, sight, touch, and smell, and it's also involved in control of attention. So this also has lots of responsibility. As you can see, things are broken up. So we move our hand, and it's not as simple as just moving our hand. There's some type of information and processing happening within the brain that's allowing us to move our hand. I don't know if you've ever burned your hand, but I sure have before. And you can burn it, and then maybe that first few minutes of it, you don't feel it, but then it starts to kick in, right? And it's like, ouch, because, it's connecting and communicating. So the senses, when you touch something, is actually communicating with certain processes in our brain to tell us, ouch, that hurts, right? Oh, that's hot. Oh, that's cold. So there's things happening within us that we aren't aware of, and it's happening so beautifully without our help. Now we have the occipital lobe. The occipital lobe contains primary visual areas, so it processes and interprets everything we see, right? So when I'm looking at my desktop or when I'm looking at my phone, it's processing everything. It's responsible for analyzing shapes, colors, movement, and so much more. So it's the overall determinant of the images we see. It puts it all together for us, right? And says, hey, this is a cell phone. Hey, this is a book because it looks this shape, it has this many pages, it has this type of color, right? It processes that and gives us an image for us to be able to understand. Now we have the temporal lobe that receives input from the occipital area. So it's involved in object recognition. So it helps us to recognize it. So the occipital area is able to give us the image, and the temporal lobe helps us to recognize what that image is. It plays a key role in language, it interprets sounds from ears, and so much more. So as you can see, all four of these executive functions in the brain have separate roles to play. However, when we're living, it seems like it all just happens so beautifully, right? Like we don't have to say, touch this and feel that. We don't have to really get that deep into it because our brain is taking care of it for us. So the purpose of today's video is for us to have just a little bit of awareness of what's going on inside of our bodies. You have a brain up there. You have something that is allowing you to learn, allowing you to process information from the outside world and help you put it all together. There is something happening that's allowing you to be able to, come to conclusions about things. So I just want you to take this information today and understand that, as I said in the beginning, we have the ability to alter our minds. We have the ability to create change when we understand how to. The brain can do amazing things. You are the brain. So can you. With that being said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching today's videos. Once again, I do upload 5 days a week. Please make sure that if you liked the content, you like the video, hopefully comment, hopefully share it, and also subscribe so that you can be notified. Hit the notification so that you can be notified. Other than that, I want to thank you guys so much for watching today and have a good one.